my name is Wendy Murillo, and today we're going to be talking about how to plan a vacation. All right, so a lot goes into planning a vacation. All right, how you plan it could make the difference. All right, it could be either a great adventure or a terrible time. All right, so first we're going to start with who is all going. All right, you got to decide who's going first. Is it going to be a solo trip? All right, maybe you want to travel alone, so you can do whatever you want, right? You can make those decisions yourself, and you don't have to ask anybody else where they want to go eat, where they want to go visit, whether it's a museum, right? Traveling alone. Is it going to be a couple's vacation? Is this going to be like a second honeymoon for you and your spouse, you and your significant other? Or is this going to be a family vacation? Maybe a family summer vacation, maybe a family winter vacation where you're bringing along the kids, maybe your nieces and nephews or anybody else in your extended family. Or is it a trip with friends? Is this a trip with your closest friends? What is it? What kind of trip are you planning? All right. Who you're traveling with will affect the rest of your trip planning. All right, so deciding who's going on a vacation with you is the important initial step to take. All right, so we are going to go to the next slide. Okay, locations, location. All right, where do you want to go? All right, you've got to decide where to go. Even for frequent travelers, it could be difficult to decide on the right vacation destination. All right. Deciding where to go often requires first asking how you want to spend your time off. All right. You're investing time and you're investing money, so you want to ensure that your vacation fulfills your needs and any desires that you might want. All right. This goes together with who are you traveling with. All right. So deciding on where you actually want to go could be really fun. All right, researching all the things that you want to do in that location are very important. All right, so do you want to relax on a deserted beach? Right? Do you want to leave all your worries behind? So if you want to do something like this, Costa Rica, the Caribbean, right, somewhere where you can relax. The beaches are endless. That could be something to think about, right? If you're looking for a place that has museums, right, a great nightlife, then you're looking at different places, probably like Ibiza in Spain or Mexico City, right? Different places. It's always something that you have to consider. Do you want wild experiences, right? Do you want places where you're going to be able to do the craziest things like bungee jumping, skydiving, stuff like that? Or do you want something a little bit more relaxing, right? Do you want to have a domestic trip somewhere in your state, somewhere in your own country, or is it going to be international? All right, these are important things that you have to consider. All right, because if you definitely think about it, you want to cover your safety and comfort. All right. So again, safety and comfort, just how I said. Do you want adventures and lots of activities? What is it that you want? All right. Definitely something to think about. Depending on where you want to go, the accommodations can range, right, from aplenty to scarce, right? So definitely got to think about that. All right. So the next thing that you have to think about, your time restraint. All right. How many days can you go? Right? How much time off do you have? All right. Is it your annual trip, right, where you can have 2 to 3 weeks? Is it just a weekend trip, right? What is it? How many days? All right. Take everything into account. Take into account, the time you're going to spend at the airport. All right. For most people, picking a time to travel is based on when you can take time off work. All right. Say a very good example. A teacher, right? Taking a vacation during the summer might have more time than, let's say, a regular person with a 9 to 5 job, right? That usually gets 1 or 2 weeks a year. All right. So again, you got to think about who is going with you. All right. If you're traveling with kids, right, you're probably coordinating around summer and winter breaks, right? You don't want the kids missing out on important school days. So your decision about when to travel, all right, can easily be based on activities you want to do. All right. Do you want to ski? Do you want to water ski? You got to remember the weather and the season. It's drastically different from where you live. All right. For example, if you want to go to Australia, all right, winter in Australia is from June to August. All right. We also have other destinations, right, that have coming weather events that could affect your trip. If you're thinking about going or heading down to the Caribbean, you've got to think about the hurricane season. All right. You got to think about all these things. It all goes back to your research. All right. Another thing to think about, right? If it's going to take a long time to get there, all right, that's going to deduct from your journey. I did mention it earlier, right? You got to account for the time that you're going to be at the airport. You got to account for any delays, especially during these times coming off of COVID, right? We have costs going up, right? We have a lot of airlines with very limited pilots. So again, delays, and we have to be able to take that into account. All right. On the other hand, given that, some of these places with the longest journey time it is preferable to opt out if you have at least 2 weeks to explore, right? If your holiday or if your vacation is 7 days, perhaps it's better, to, travel somewhere closer. Going anywhere further, let's say like Europe, it'll take at least a day going and coming, depending on how long that trip is. All right. So, do you know how far or near you want to go? Definitely something to think about. All right. The size of your budget, another big important decision. All right. You have to estimate a budget. Money is one of the biggest factors in trip planning. All right. So it does help a lot to be honest with yourself and whoever is going with you on what you want to spend. All right. What are your priorities? All right. You got to sit down here and think about it. All right. Distance doesn't always mean a higher price. All right. As you can always find good deals, right, wherever your chosen destination is. However, it is very useful to set a limit on the amount you wish to spend. All right. You must bear in mind that not only you will have to pay for your plane ticket, all right, you have to think about your accommodations. You have to think about food. Food is one of those things that, is going to fluctuate. You could end up, having the breakfast included in your hotel, or you might be able to eat, something quick, right? So that's going to vary. All right. It all depends on the standards of living at your destination or what you expect. All right. Some remote areas imply a higher flight price, right? And their currency of the local place could be a little different compared to what you're used to. All right. So this means that the cost of tickets can be, lower day to day, during the holiday. Let's take Europe, for example. Flights can be found at a low cost, but accommodations and food costs can be extremely high. So, again, very, very important. Have your priorities in order. Communicate a budget before you decide to go to a certain destination, all right? That's going to provide you some structure when narrowing down your list of locations and accommodations, all right? So very, very, very important. All right. So one of the last things to think about, all right, it's the last topic we're going to talk about, but It is definitely very important, all right? Book your trip and, also consider travel insurance, all right? So once you've decided everything else, start booking your hotel, your car rental, your attractions. It is very, it's recommended, right, that you start paying for some of these attractions in advance, all right? An example, I've been to San Francisco, and one time I did not book the Alcatraz trip or attraction in advance, hoping to get some tickets when I got there, and I was not successful. All right. Again, I did this in Rome when I visited Rome. I was in Italy, super excited. I booked a few attractions in advance, but I did not book all of them, and again, sold out. All right. And that could be a waste of time. So start booking and paying for your stuff, like hotel, car rental, attractions, whatever you can before you actually get there. All right. Let's continue from the previous point. All right. If you consider yourself an adventurous person, all right, you can let yourself be carried away by the experience, right? Eat in street stalls and other low budget establishments. And also, when it comes to accommodations, you can share a room with other travelers and get around on foot or rent a bicycle in the terrain if the terrain permits. All right. So if traveling comfortably and not having to improvise is more your style, it's going to cost you. All right. Guided excursions, taxis, or dinners in fancy restaurants, right, will considerably raise your budget. But it will also mean that you can relax more. So make sure your destination gives you what you're looking for. All right. Again, it's being honest with what you want, what you need, and what you are able to afford. All right. So it is time to consider whether you need travel insurance for your trip. A lot of the factors that go into planning a trip should be considered. All right. Types of activities which you'll be doing, the ages and health of the people going on the trip. Knowing that you and your travel companions have travel insurance in case of an emergency, knowing that you're covered can make everything or any vacation less stressful and more enjoyable. All right, so that is something that you should be looking forward to researching. All right, so again, buying travel insurance can save you a lot of issues, all right, in your trip or on your trip. I'm sorry. So, following these tips, all right, can help you, all right, choose the best things for the best vacation destination so you can be on your way, all right, with the trip planning far behind you and enjoying your travels before you know it. All right, thank you so much.